Hello everyone, this is Doris from Susan's Family. Today, I'm bringing you the Herbal Chronicles series, the square patchwork blanket, the hibiscus design. For this pattern, view it on en.susuddiy.com. First, you need to crochet these motifs. Then sew all the motifs together. Finally, crochet the border. To make it easier to explain, we'll divide the motifs into Motif 1, Motif 2, and Motif 3. Let's start with Motif 1. Use the magic ring method. Work in rounds counterclockwise from the starting point. Several crochet stitches will be used, and they are all marked on the chart. I won't list them one by one. Now, please watch me demonstrate the crocheting method. Before we start crocheting, let's learn the proper posture for crocheting. To make it easier for you to watch, I will use cotton yarn for the demonstration. The color is random. For specific yarn, color schemes, and hook sizes, please refer to the detail page of our product and the paper instructions. First, let's start with the magic ring. Pick up the yarn with your right hand. Wrap it twice around your left index finger. Now there are 3 strands of yarn on your left index finger. Use your right thumb and index finger to pinch where the loops overlap. Then take it out. Wrap the yarn once around your left little finger. Thread it between your middle finger and index finger. And transfer the loop to between your left thumb and middle finger. Pick up the crochet hook with your right hand. Move the crochet hook between these 2 points. Insert it into the loop. Position the hook to the left of the yarn. Yarn over. Pull the yarn through. Now there is 1 loop on the hook. Chain 1 to secure. Yarn over. Pull the yarn through. 1 chain is completed. Pull tight. Pay attention. Don't make the loop on the hook too tight, or it will be difficult to crochet later. Like this, the magic ring is completed. Begin the first round. Make 1 beginning chain. The turning chain does not count as a stitch. Then work SCS around the ring. Insert into the magic ring. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. There are now 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over again. And draw through the loops on the hook. 1 SC is completed. There is a V-shaped braid on the upper right. This is the SC stitch. Continue to crochet SCS. Insert into the magic ring. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over again. Draw through the 2 loops on the hook. The second SC is completed. For this round, you need to crochet 8 SCS. Continue to crochet the remaining SCS. 3. 4. 'After that, close the magic ring. There are 2 loops. Gently pull the starting yarn tail. You can see 1 loop moving. Tighten the moving loop. One loop remains. Pull tight the yarn tail. The loop is now secured. Next, finish with a slip stitch in the first SC stitch of this round. Locate the first stitch. Count back from the stitch on the right of the hook. the 8th V-shaped braid. That is the first stitch. Insert the hook. Yarn over, draw the yarn through, and draw through in once. The slip stitch is complete. This is the braid formed by the slip stitch. The joining slip stitch does not count as a stitch. It needs to be tightened to avoid adding extra stitches later. Like this, round 1 is complete. Move on to round 2. Make 2 beginning chains. These 2 chains count as an incomplete DC. Then work a DC in the first stitch of the previous round, which is the same insertion point as the slip stitch. Yarn over. Insert the hook. Place the starting tail above the hook. Weave in as you crochet. Then yarn over, draw the yarn through. Now there are 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, draw through the first 2 loops. There are 2 loops left. Yarn over again, and draw through once. 1 DC is completed. Along with the 2 chains on the right, it forms a DC2 bobble. Since there are beginning chains, the technique here is a bit special. Work 3 chains. Then work a DC2 bobble in the adjacent stitch. First work 2 incomplete DCs. Yarn over. Insert into the adjacent stitch. Make sure to weave in the ends. Yarn over, pull the yarn through. Now there are 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, draw through the first 2 loops. This is an incomplete DC. Then work the second one. Yarn over. Insert into the same stitch. Yarn over. Pull the yarn through. Then yarn over again. Draw through the first 2 loops. This is the second incomplete DC. Then yarn over. And draw through all the loops on the hook. 1 DC2 bobble is done. Then work 3 chains. Then make a DC2 bobble in the left stitch. Start with 2 incomplete DCs. One. 2. Then yarn over, and draw through all the loops on the hook. Another DC2 bobble is done, plus the one at the starting position. Now you have made 3. This round involves working 1 DC2 bobble in each stitch from the previous round. Between the DC2 bobbles, chain 3 as a transition. Everyone finish the remaining part of this round. After the final 3 chains are done, join with a slip stitch in the first DC2 bobble, which is the 3rd braid here. Insert. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through, and draw through all the loops on the hook. Slip stitch is complete. Tighten. Like this, round 2 is complete. Now let's work round 3. Make 1 chain as the turning chain for the SC. Work 1 SC in the same position as the slip stitch from the previous round. Then in the left chain space, work 1 HDC. Yarn over. Insert. Yarn over, Draw the yarn through. Now there are 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, and draw through all the loops on the hook. A HDC is complete. Move on to 1DC. Yarn over. Insert into the same chain space. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over again. Draw through the first 2 loops. Repeat twice. Once. Twice. A DC is complete. Chain 1. Then work 1 DC in the same chain space. Work 1 HDC. Yarn over. Insert. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over again. Draw through all 3 loops on the hook. Another HDC is complete. Work 1 SC in the left DC 2 bobble stitch. Move on to the left chain space. Work the same stitch as the chain space on the right side. First work 1 HDC and 1 DC. Then work 1 chain. Work 1 DC and 1 HDC. After completing, work 1 SC in the DC 2 bobble stitch on the left side. This round involves working the same stitch in each chain space. Work 1 SC in each DC 2 bobble stitch. Everyone finish the remaining part of this round. Once completed, join with a slip stitch into the first SC stitch. Tighten. This way, round 3 is completed. Next, work on round 4. Make 3 chains to start. These 3 chains count as 1 DC, then chain 3 as a transition. Work 2 DCS in the same stitch. Work 2 chains between the DCS. Then work 1 SC in the left chain space. Chain 2. Then work 1 HDC in the left SC. Chain 2. Then work 1 SC in the left chain space. Work 4 DCS in the left SC stitch. Work 2 chains between the first 2 DCS as a transition. Work 3 chains between the middle 2 DCS as a transition. Work 2 chains between the last 2 DCS as a transition. Take these 4 DCS and the 7 chains in the middle as pattern A. This round consists of working HDCS and pattern A in the SC stitches from the previous round. Work chains and SCS on both sides of the HDCS. Refer to the chart. Complete the remaining part of this round. After completing the last SC, work 1 DC and 2 chains in the first stitch of the previous round to complete the first pattern A. Then join with a slip stitch to the third chain of the beginning chain, which is the fourth braid to the right of this stitch. Work into these 2 strands. Pull tight. Like this, round 4 is completed. Move on to round 5. Here you need to adjust the starting position. Transition using a slip stitch. Insert the hook into the left chain space. Work 1 slip stitch. Be mindful, the slip stitch here is represented by an oval solid dot, which indicates that you do not need to tighten. A circular solid dot indicates that you need to pull tight. We won't repeat this explanation later. Now the yarn tail is carried to the corresponding position. Work 2 beginning chains. These 2 chains count as an incomplete DC. Then work 2 incomplete DCS in this chain space. Yarn over and draw through all the loops on the hook. 1 DC3 bobble is completed. Since there are beginning chains at the start, the technique here is a bit special. Work 4 chains as a transition. Then work 1 DC3 bobble in the same chain space. First work 3 incomplete DCS. Then yarn over and draw through all the loops on the hook. Another DC3 bobble is completed. Work 2 chains. Then in the left chain space, work 1 DC3 bobble. Then work 2 chains. 1 DC3 bobble in the left chain space. Work 2 chains again. This round involves working DC3 bobbles in the chain spaces from the previous round. In the chain spaces with 3 chains, work 2 DC3 bobbles. 4 chains between the DC3 bobbles. For the remaining chain spaces with 2 chains, work 1 DC3 bobble in each. Work 2 chains between the DC3 bobbles. Refer to the pattern. Complete the remaining part of this round. After completing the last 2 chains, join with a slip stitch to the first DC3 bobble. tighten. As you can see, this is what it looks like after completing round 6. Continue with round 6. First, adjust the starting position. Insert the hook into the adjacent chain space. Make 1 slip stitch. This carries the yarn tail to the corresponding position. Make 3 chains to start. These 3 chains count as 1 DC, then work 2 more DCs in the same space. Including the turning chain, this is equivalent to 3 DCs. Take these 3 DCs in the same position as 1 leaf, then work 3 chains. Then work another leaf in the same position. Then work 1 chain. Then work 1 DC in the left chain space. One chain. Then in the left chain space. Work a sequence of 1 leaf and 1 DC. Work 1 chain between the leaf and the DC as a transition. Continue working until you reach the chain space at the corner. Until you reach the corner position, work 2 leaves. 3 chains between the leaves. This round involves working 2 leaves in each of the 4 corner chain spaces from the previous round, with 3 chains between the leaves. For the remaining 2 chain spaces, work a sequence of 1 DC and 1 leaf. Between the DC and the leaf, work 1 chain as a transition. Refer to the diagram to complete the remaining part of this round. After completing the last chain, join with a slip stitch to the beginning chain. Pull tight. This way, round 6 is completed. Chain 1 to secure. Leave a yarn tail of about 5 centimeters and break the yarn. Then weave the yarn tail along the texture, on the wrong side of the fabric. Hide a few more stitches and trim off. This way, motif 1 is completed. Use the same method, and finish all the remaining motif 1s. Next, let's look at motif 2. Use the same magic ring method. Work in rounds counterclockwise outward from the magic ring. There will be color changes during the process. The new stitch techniques include SC2 in 1 and cross group. Please watch my demonstration. First, begin with a magic ring and crochet 6 SCS for round 1. Here, I have already prepared it in advance. Next, crochet round 2. Make 1 beginning chain. Then, in the first stitch of the previous round, make a SC2 in 1. That means 2 SCS in the same stitch. Remember to weave in the ends. One, 2. A SC 2-in-1 is completed. Continue working by crocheting 2 SCS into each stitch of the previous round to finish this round. When completed, join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. Pull tight. Like this. Round 2 is done. Chain 1 to secure. Leave about 5 centimeters and cut the yarn. Weave the end to the wrong side of the fabric. Make sure to weave in a few more stitches before trimming. Next, crochet round 3. For this round, pick up the front loops of round 2. Each stitch has 2 strands. The strand closer to you is the front loop. The strand farther from you is the back loop. Take out the corresponding color of yarn. Make a slip knot with the yarn tail. Hold the yarn with your left hand. Pick up any front loop of round 2. Draw the loop through. Slightly adjust the loop size. Then crochet 7 chains. Next, pick up the strand on the left side of the second to last chain. Crochet a slip stitch. This slip stitch doesn't need to be pulled tight. Then, pick up the strand on the left side of each adjacent chain. Crochet at SC 2 HDCS. One SC and 1 slip stitch. After completing this, in the adjacent front loop of the joining position, crochet a slip stitch. Take this long strip as a petal. In this round, you need to crochet 12 petals. Move on to the second one. First, chain 7. Then, starting from the second to last chain from the hook, pick up the strand on the left side. Crochet the corresponding stitches. After completing this, make 1 slip stitch in the adjacent front loop. The second petal is completed. Everyone repeat this process. Complete the remaining petals. For the last slip stitch, crochet at the joining point. Tighten. Then cut the yarn. As you can see, this is what it looks like after completing round 3. Next, let's work on round 4. In this round, crochet into the back loops of round 2. First, insert into the back loop of the first stitch of round 2. Join the yarn here. Work 3 beginning chains. These 3 chains count as the first DC. Then work 2 chains as a transition. Next, crochet into the back loop of the adjacent stitch. Work 1 DC. Be mindful to weave in the yarn tail. Then work 2 chains as a transition. Next, crochet into the back loop of the adjacent stitch. Work 1 DC. Work 2 more chains. For this round, pick up the back loop of the stitches from round 2. Work a DC. Work 2 chains between the DCs as a transition. Everyone, complete this round. After completing the last 2 chains, join with a slip stitch into the beginning chain. Pull tight. This way, round 4 is completed. Move on to round 5. First, adjust the starting position. Then, make 1 beginning chain. Work 1 SC in the same chain space. Then, work 5 chains. Next, work 1 SC in the left chain space. 5 chains. In this round, work 1 SC in each chain space from the previous round. Work 5 chains between SCs. Finish this round. After completing it, join with a slip stitch to the first SC stitch. Pull tight. This way, round 5 is completed. Now, let's move on to round 6. Similarly, adjust the starting position first. Then, work a DC3 bobble. When working the third incomplete DC, you need to connect to the petals from round 3. Pick up the 2 threads behind the SC above the petal. Insert. Insert again into the chain space. Work an incomplete DC. Then, work 4 chains. In the same chain space, work another DC3 bobble. When working the first incomplete DC, connect with the previous petal. Insert into the same connection point. Then work 2 chains. Work 1 DC3 bobble in the left chain space. When working the second incomplete DC, connect to the adjacent petal from round 3. First, pick up the 2 threads behind the SC above the petal. Insert into the chain space. This round involves working DC3 bobbles in the chain spaces from the previous round. Work chains between the DC3 bobbles. For the specific quantity of DC3 bobbles and chains, refer to the chart. When working a single DC3 bobble in a chain space, to connect to the petal when working the second incomplete DC. When working 2 DC3 bobbles in a chain space, the third incomplete DC of the first DC3 bobble, as well as the first DC of the second DC3 bobble. Connect both to the same petal. To finish this round, after completing it, join with a slip stitch in the first DC3 bobble. Pull tight. Then break the yarn. This way, round 6 is completed. Move on to round 7. Take the corresponding color of yarn. Start at the left of the position where the yarn was cut in the previous round. Work 2 beginning chains. These 2 chains count as 1 HDC. Then work 1 HDC in the same space. Remember to weave in the ends. Then crochet 3 chains. Follow with 2 HDCs in the same space. Work 1 SC in the left DC3 bobble. Then work 3 SCs in the left chain space. Then work a SC on the left stitch. The next stitch is a cross group. Work 1 DC in the left DC3 bobble. which is in this chain space. Slightly enlarge the loop for the height of the DC, so that the height matches the SC on the right. Next, work at SC in the chain space between these two DC3 bobbles. Then, work a DC in the chain space on the right side of this DC insertion point. Make sure the completed DC should be behind. Do not wrap it. Slightly enlarge the loop for the height of the DC. One cross group is completed. The height should match the SCS in this round. Make sure the fabric does not roll. Work at SC in each of the two DC3 bobbles on the left. Work 3 SCS in the middle chain space. Take the position from the turning chain to the last SC here as one group. This round requires repeating this stitch group 4 times. Continue working down. I will demonstrate the cross group technique again. First, work 1 DC in the left chain space of round 5. Pay attention to the height of the DC. Then, work 1 SC in the chain space here. Next, in the chain space to the right of the insertion point of this DC, work 1 DC. Make sure the completed DC is placed behind. Do not wrap it. The cross group is completed. Everyone, continue to finish the remaining part of this round. After completing the last SC, join with a slip stitch to the second chain of the beginning chain. Tighten. Then, break the yarn. As you can see, this is what it looks like after completing round 7. Now, let's work on round 8. Attach the yarn in the left chain space of where you broke the yarn. Then, work 2 leaves in this chain space. Work 3 chains between the leaves. Remember to weave in the ends. Complete with 1 chain. Then, skip 2 stitches. Work 1 DC in the 3rd stitch from the left. Work 1 chain. Then, skip 2 stitches. Work 1 leaf in the 3rd stitch from the left. That is, work 3 DCs in this stitch. This round is a sequence of DCs and leaves. Work 1 chain between the DCs and the leaves, and skip 2 stitches. At the 4 corners, work 2 leaves in each. Work 3 chains between the leaves. Refer to the diagram to complete the remaining part of this round. After completing, join with a slip stitch to the beginning chain. Pull tight. Cut the yarn. Weave all the yarn tails on the wrong side of the fabric. Like this, round 8 is now completed. One motif 2 is finished. Use the same method to complete the remaining motifs too.